All right. Well, Bill took all the fun things, Your Honor, and counsel, and so I'm coming back with something that hasn't traditionally been a fun item for us to report back to the council on, but we may have a different message this time. And so in the interest of ending on what I hope will be a high note for you all, I'm here to give a report about the Indian Hills restroom installation. Those of you who've been around for a while, this will recall that this started coming before you back in 2021. So just a quick reminder of what we're talking about here. Indian Hills is the Indian Hills Park. It is located at 1830 South Blaine Street. So this is the area you've got NRS. So just to the south of NRS as you continue south here, the park sits right there. And this was a property that was obtained in 2008 through a parkland dedication for Indian Hills 6th. The late Mr. Bill Parks donated $40,000 toward the purchase of an additional lot to enlarge the park, and then subsequently donated $25,000 toward the play structure. And the ribbon cutting was on August 21st, 2018, and you may see some familiar faces there at said ribbon cutting. So as part of this park installation, there was if you've been to the park or seen it, there's a pretty significant grade change from the street up to the playground. And so there was an ADA accessible pathway that was installed that goes down from the street up to the park. And there was a portable restroom installed with screening here by the roadway. And this is what that looked like. Obviously not ideal. This is a permanent park and we want to have permanent structures and facilities. But as the council's well aware, we've seen dramatic escalation in the cost for the installation of those types of facilities, not only for the procuring of the building itself, but also the construction costs for installation have increased dramatically over the last several years. And so over the years, we've been back to the council on 3 separate occasions with bids that we solicited. The engineer's estimate for the project, which included the installation of an ADA parking spot on Indian Hills Drive, was $146,622. The low and only bid was $269,205. So obviously that was something that was just not, we weren't able to accommodate in the budget. There were 3 different attempts. Each time they came in a little bit higher. So from the 84% over the engineer's estimate, it was rebid in September 2022. And the bids came in at that point 130% over estimate. And again, just one bidder. At that point, we regrouped internally to have some discussions with staff, and we determined that we thought this was something that we could probably attempt to install with our staff, that we could do this in-house, bring this in-house, and try and get this project across the finish line. And so with that, we put together a team to vet out the feasibility, and we asked Justin Kilborn, who's here with us tonight, and we'll run through the process to lead up that team. And so Justin assembled a team with a lot of departments, and this is just how it works when especially when you're a small city. It takes all of us, and this was something that everybody came together. We had representation from the water department, from our water reclamation department, our parks department, engineering, streets, finance, and the building department all participated to try and get this installed so we could finally get a permanent restroom at that facility. So I'm going to let Justin talk through what that process looked like.
Welcome, Justin.
Thank you. Thanks, Tyler. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for having us in here tonight to go over this. So we started out getting a team together like Tyler discussed. We threw everybody that we knew that had an expertise in certain areas, whether it be in the concrete, the grading, the elevation changes that we had to face out there. We wanted to make sure that we tracked everything possible through this whole process, making sure that we had every man hour, every nut and bolt accounted for throughout the entire things. So we took control of it, and we went and most people don't think about what it takes to get the utilities in to something like this. A pre-existing slab building that's over 42,000 pounds and what all of the steps that it takes. So we wanted to make sure that we got all that documented out. So Mark's group with the sewer came in. This is usually usually most of the around the city is all in gravity. This had to be, because of the elevation changes and everything, had to be a force main, so we had to install a grinder and a pit. Everything has to be precisely installed, not, it's all within 2 to 3 inches. It's not, just throw it out there and it'll work. So we were making sure that we got all that taken care of. We did directional boring through the park to have a less impact on the park and make sure that the park stayed open the entire time. There's a lot of people, kids playing all the time through there, so we wanted to make sure that that was always open and didn't have to retrench everything, didn't have to reseed everything, dig through all the water lines for the irrigation that was in place. So then we had the sewer here with the water line coming in, the power coming in on this corner, and then a drain that actually comes back into the sewer, and then it all comes down to this, runs down and then runs back out underneath the sidewalk and everything. And you can, as you can see, there's no impact to the sidewalk or the landscaping that was already in place. Loading this up, it had been sitting for a couple of years already on site at the street shop, so we had to get creative with what we had to get out there. We had to have two picks with the crane, so they had to come in, show up, load the thing up, get it on a truck that was gonna transport it across town, and then with our street department doing the traffic control, and then setting it. When we were planning this, it was all trying to figure out exactly where we could get a crane to that wasn't gonna disrupt the park for the entire time. So the crane got here, set up, didn't have any issues with it, and then just there again, just showing the conduit that was in place for the power, laying off to the side, keeping the park open, and having the bathroom actually set up on the existing pathway, so that was still in use while people could use it during the installation. And then getting Calvin's group in to finish up the landscaping around it. The building department came in, signed off on the rough-in plumbing, got everything taken care of, the concrete poured, and then streets department came in and finished up the ADA parking strip. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Justin. Good work. And kudos to everybody involved.
So as Justin mentioned, one of the things that we really wanted to do was make sure that we tracked everything through this process so that we would have accurate numbers. So we know what this represents, what we could do it for in-house versus what it would cost. And so we tracked man hours, we tracked equipment hours, and really tried to capture every aspect of the cost for this. And so in the end, we were able to install this for $90,757. And so as you'll recall, our initial engineer's estimate was just shy of 150. Our bid was just shy of 270, and we installed it for $90,757. And that's really just a result of these guys being creative, great crews that really were creative and worked in concert to get it done. You know, some of the things that were driving the cost up was some uncertainties about if they were gonna have to track it across the site and what would be the right spot to set it. And they just did a wonderful job of anticipating everything, and it just really couldn't have gone more smoothly. And so instead of an 84% cost increase, we saved 66% from what had been the bid number. And so it's just, yeah, really good results for that. And so, you know, what's next? One of the things that we're interested in doing is taking a look at if there's a potential for expanded in-house construction. Obviously, we run lean. We always do. We've always had to as a city. So all of these folks still did their normal job as they did this. This was extra above and beyond. Please, let's try and get this done, because otherwise it's not going to happen. But as we look at those numbers, they are encouraging numbers, and we think that if we can review our CIP, if we can take a look through the lens of what we may have the capacity to do, what we have the expertise, what we either have the equipment or can get the equipment, and what might be the right size. It's not something that we would take on every single project, but we are interested in conducting an analysis and potentially bringing forward a proposal to the council for some expanded in-house construction. I think that there are certain aspects of our capital improvement program that tend to be neglected, and there are a lot of pinch points, and one of them has just been the dramatic increase in the cost of construction. But in addition, we have some pinch points that are inherent in the design process that if we had some more in-house processes to do things like just change out routine water lines, not upsizing, not doing anything fancy, just getting into some of the older neighborhoods and just changing out water lines, changing out old fire hydrants, changing out meter vaults and catch basins and storm pipes. And so this is something that we've been working on getting potentially a proposal together to bring back, and that's something that council will probably hear more about in the coming year as we start to get these numbers together, get some engineers' estimates, and through this lens, we're able to take a better look at it. We recently installed a water service, and we'll install a sewer service with in-house folks up to Building B at the shop, and that went amazingly well as well. And so I do think that there might be some capacity there where we can pick the right spots where we can win. And with that, we would be happy to stand for any questions.
Sandra?
First, I mean, we're watching everyone's face. This is a really cool thing, right? I love all of that and excited about what you're saying. There's one thing I would be really interested in, and I don't have an idea because I've thought about this for like 18 seconds right now, right? But when you are trying to gather the data, I would love to be able to see something from your workers that doesn't have names on it, because things like this happen all the time to people saying, hey, this is just going to be a little bit, hey, this is going to be great, and you're happy to do it, but you're like, holy cow, I don't feel like I'm getting paid for this, or I feel like my work is being taken away, even if you're happy to do it. And I would love the chance for them to anonymously be able to write in there, like, we like doing this, but, because I don't want to take away from that. I mean, awesome and amazing, especially like in a pinch, man, we came through and did this, but even for those little things, if it becomes a norm, and I like saving money, right? But, I mean, it's Public Servants Week, right? I don't want to take away from that either, because I know our team works really hard. So I just want to make sure they have a chance to comment without any implications to say, I feel over capacity on this. That's all.
I appreciate that concern, Councilor Kelly, because I think that really would be something that as we look at this, that's a lens we certainly want to apply, is not just continually saying, oh, hey, here's one more thing, you're already busy. And the other thing we've always been very sensitive to is that there used to be more in-house construction that was done, but it was to the sacrifice of the systems themselves. We weren't doing the maintenance because we had everybody out doing construction. And we really can't sacrifice that. We have to perform the routine maintenance. Otherwise, we start chasing our tail and it becomes a death loop on construction because we're not maintaining those systems. And so I think that is very important, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, Tyler, thanks for the presentation. Thanks for, this is, after things we've talked about tonight, this is great. And I think, especially one thing, we've talked about kids and community, and this is for family. Like, we're investing in families. Having spent a fair amount of time in most of our parks in Moscow, I've taken my kids up to this park. We love it. We love the views. There have been some really close moments, though, where, there wasn't a bathroom there, and then I would have been busted from real indecent exposure, and so I'm glad that I'm not going to have that there with my kids. But two, on top of that, it's just a better, a portable outhouse. Going to the bathroom should not be a memorable experience, but also shouldn't be your worst experience when visiting a park. And so I'm just really, I love the concept of vertical integration. And I think, I look at our mission statement, and a lot of people, will, for whatever reason, they only complain when things don't work. They never appreciate when things work well and when we do things well. And I hope those that are in the audience that are reporting or entertaining or whatever we're doing, that this is highlighted, because this is a good thing that we've done. And I'm just, one as a parent, one as someone on council, I think this is a great win for the city, and I look forward to things that you're talking about. I think that's exciting.
I just have a question. Did we already have all the equipment we needed to do this? And it seems like, especially in the case that we were able to keep the park open the whole time, the people closest to the problem came up with a solution and had our own citizens in mind, because they're our friends and neighbors and our kids. But did we have to splurge and get some of the things to do the?
There were certain aspects of the installation that we contracted out.
Gotcha, okay.
So there are certain things boring some of the electrical things. the flat work, the concrete flat work around the structure itself. And so we were able to really pick and choose and say, okay,
That's
here's the
awesome.
things we can do well. We can contract these things out easily. And so there was a combination. For example, we don't own a crane, and so we contracted with a
Yet,
crane.
just kidding, sorry. Okay, that's super cool. I just was hoping that next time I go to the shop, there'd be some more gadgets, but that's,
Bryce.
Yeah, Tyler and Justin, thank you so much, and really good work. It's nice to have some really good news after tonight's discussions. Curious, how often is it serviced and cleaned now that it's kind of, sparkling and new? And yeah, how often does it get checked in
I
on?
would have to check with the Parks Department. I'm not sure what the exact rotation is, but we last year started contracting that through our janitorial services, the restroom cleaning at the parks. And so it is on a set rotation. We found that was, one, more economical, and two, helped us retain our full-time parks employees, because a lot of them, when they signed on, they want to be working on
Sure.
Parks components and not necessarily being a janitor. And so that's been a really successful program, but I can follow up with you on the exact
Yeah, just curious.
exact rotation.
Thanks, Tyler.
Okay, thanks, guys.
I was
Thank you.
happy.
yeah, good news. You did that on
Who knew a
purpose.
bathroom would be so happy?
I see. I needed that bookend.